We are live yet again from Studio B here at the Beach Street Yacht Club in San Francisco. My co-host Julia Vedekint has got too much sound in her headphones. Turn your head. You got that little dial over there. So I can turn you down over here. Is that better? Julia?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm your host, Tom Eamon, as we get going here for show number 860. Julia, I trust you're well.
I am.
Nice scarf. Where'd that scarf come from?
I have a beautiful scarf, which is a new present from the Balboa Yacht Club.
The generous manager, the general manager, Russell Miller, sent that to you from Balboa Yacht Club.
Yes.
And he's just back from the long weekend, Long Point Race Week, where both the Newport Harbor Yacht Club and the Balboa Yacht Club folks were out there having that terrific event every year at the end of August. We're going to celebrate that a little bit today as we get into, as I said, our show for Tuesday, the 26th of August, 2025. Thank you for joining us at the starting line today. Happy Tuesday, Julia, and happy what small but great sailing country Beer Day.
Oh, my God.
See if any of the Fozy figure that one out. Bravo Zulu to American Magic Quantum Racing for dominating the Puerto Portals 52 Super Series regatta out there in Mallorca over the weekend. Last week, actually finished over the weekend. Mm-hmm. Bravo Zulu also to Newport Harbor and Balboa Yacht Clubs for yet another stellar Long Point Race Week. The Fireball class is at Garda with 137 boats from something like 16 countries. It's their 60th year and one of the biggest regattas yet, especially outside of Great Britain.
Right.
Coaching Corner, John Emmett does a beach walk on the Weymouth Beach on a rare British summer day, beautiful day there in the UK. Mm-hmm. More sources chiming in on Friday's One Here's when I told you about the 2032 Olympic classes, the change there too, that lineup.
Right.
We'll talk some more about that as more people are saying, oh, you're right. Oh, how'd you hear that? Well, you know. The feature today is the Ocean Race Europe. The jury has given redress to HOLCIM PRB, and the leg 3 started from Cartagena to Nice today, a couple hours, now quite a few hours ago. Started at 2 o'clock, I think, local time. In Spain, last leg, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia goes from strength to strength. They've issued not one but 2 really cool videos. This is a video world. Witness, Julia, this show.
Yes.
It's a video world.
It is.
Clubs, classes, YRA, everybody should be issuing videos to help promote our beloved sport, don't you think? Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
I think you do. I know you do. We can pull our lower third off, Julia, and get into this show. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot and our fantastic Fozy and much more for today's show number 860, celebrating the Ocean Race Europe and the start of leg 3 and the redress that the jury granted to HOLCIM PRB, as I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. Julia, some Bravo Zulus here at the start of the show. Well done in praise of performance. Bravo Zulu to American Magic Quantum Racing. We told you on Friday that they were on the cusp of winning their third big event in the 52 Super Series this year in Puerto Portals, the 52 Super Series Sailing Week, a memorable regatta with a clear dominator, American Magic Quantum Racing.
How lovely. I love those boats.
Fantastic, aren't they? Mm-hmm. The 52, what used to be called the TP52s. The 52 Super Series Sailing Week was held between August 18th, wrapped up on the 23rd, 3 days ago in Puerto Portales in Mallorca. An essential venue for the circuit for the last 10 years. This event in the waters of Mallorca was attended by 12 teams representing 9 countries with approximately 160 professional crew members from 23 countries, one of the top, if not the top, professional circuit, along with, of course, Sail GP, both of which are eclipsing, and I had this discussion last night with Richard Gladwell, both are eclipsing the America's Cup, especially in terms of the number of sailors when you scale those new AC-75 boat, not new, but they're old, actually, those boats down to the new crew numbers.
Right.
Only 4 crew on each boat. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. But back to the 52 Super Series, this is a little bit of PR bluff, bluff maybe too, fluff and buff. Puerto Portales, where luxury gastronomy and elite sport converge, Julia.
Yay!
In the center of the Bay of Palma, Puerto Portales once again demonstrates that it is much more than a marina. the epicenter of Mediterranean luxury and the most exclusive leisure, the Majorcan enclave or enclave, depending upon if you're tomato or tomato, has become one of the most coveted sporting venues in Europe, or so said the 52 Super Series, hosting regattas such as this event and the most prestigious monohull sailing yacht competition, they say, in the world. I'd have to agree with that. I think this is Luis Fernandez writing this, I believe, for the 52 Super Series. A varied agenda of regattas, tournaments, and various shows that attract the international elite, together with the glitter of the luxury yachts that dock at its docks. There's a repetition of nouns, Julia. You wouldn't approve, would you? Dock at its docks?
Yes.
I mean, what's that all about, Julia? The dock there and the varied signature cuisine and exclusive boutiques project Puerto Portales Mallorca to the world as a projects Puerto Portales to the world as a destination of excellence. I had to include that. I'm picking through this press release this morning, and I said, there is some prose worthy of Magnus, the Magnificent, Julia, or you.
No, not me. But that's a nice, good one.
That's a good one. There is American Magic, Quantum Racing. They made a demonstration of tactics and solidarity during the whole week of the regattas held in Puerto Portales, somewhat irregular in their results on this occasion. Well, not too irregular. They won by a lot. But despite the fact that they suffered in one of the races with an 8th place, by achieving 3 partial victories and good results in the remaining races, they became the undisputed leader of the event. The team led by Doug DeVos showed once again that the trio of Young, Harry Melgus IV, a.k.a. H4, at the helm, the legendary Terry Hutchinson, T. Hutch on tactics, and Victor Diaz de Leon as strategist, is unbeatable, and added their 3rd consecutive victory on the circuit after Bayonne and Cascais. There is the leading 4 from that team, Doug, Terry, Victor, and Harry. Bravo Zulu to them, and they did win by quite a bit. You can see here.
Wow, they did.
38 points, fully 12 points ahead of second place Sled. And then Alpha Plus, we're going to talk about that Hong Kong boat, Hong Kong, China. They had a pretty good regatta, too. They opened with a 3rd, and then you can see they got into 4th after that 8th. They had a 4-3-2, then they had a couple of bad races, then a 2-7-2. They finished strong, so bravo Zulu to them. That's Alpha Plus. And a young Kiwi is steering that boat. We told you years ago about this guy, Nick E.J., as he's widely known. Remember him, Julia?
Sure.
Nick E.J. from his mother, Leslie Egnott, I've known since the 95 Cup, I guess. She skippered Bill Koch's boat, the all-women's team, or all-women's team plus the bearded tactician in the 95 Cup, Leslie Egnott. And her son now, Nick E.J., is going from strength to strength.
Oh, that's really good to hear.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
We got to know him during Governor's Cup, and he's steering Alpha Plus and had a hell of a good week. Bravo Zulu to him, and here's an interview with Nick E.J.
It was really shifty out there, and I think the guys are just doing an amazing job of keeping the boat going and playing the shifts really well. With the shifts, you could have easily had a bad one, and that would have turned it into a bad day pretty quickly. So, being able to just finish with a few tidy ones, we're all really happy.
What does Ado bring to the party?
Yeah, Ado brings a whole lot of experience from years and years of sailing with the Super Series. So, happy to have him on board, and he's fitting in really well.
What's his key strengths, if you like?
I think he's seen all of these situations 1,000 times before. So, we're going into a situation and I'll be looking at it like I'm not sure what's about to happen, and he's all over it, talking everybody through at it. So, great to have him on board, and we're all stoked.
What else has changed in terms of the setup or whatever, that you're going pretty quick?
Yeah, we've definitely put a lot of work into our speed. Recently, between Cascais and here, we've got a bunch of new sails that we've been testing and getting to work. So, I'm really happy with the speed, and all's going good.
You're going better as well? You're learning a little bit every day?
Yeah, that's the goal. When you get to sail with guys such as you're surrounded by here, the goal is just to learn as much as you can every single day and keep getting better. So,
what was your kind of feedback after Cascais?
Yeah, in Qashqai's we were really struggling for speed, and especially in the windy conditions. You know, on the last day when it got a little bit lighter and shiftier, we were back in the hunt, but raw boat speed in the uprange breeze was tricky.
Nick E.J., Bravo Zulu to him.
He's growing up.
He has grown up, hasn't he?
Yes.
We've watched him all these years, and it's just nice. It doesn't even make me feel, it does make me feel old, but I don't think about it, Julia. It just makes me happy to see these young guys that came through Gov Cup going on to such big roles in our beloved sport.
Absolutely.
Bravo Zulu to Nick E.J., and he's also mature, and he comes across very well. He's articulate, as a lot of these young Kiwis and Aussies and Americans, for that matter, are as well. There is the overall standings of the 52 Super Series as they go into their fifth and final race in a month's time at Porto Cervo. Porto Cervo Range Rover is the sponsor of that regatta. And as you can see, American Magic well and truly on top. Looks like they're unassailable, or nearly so, short of getting disqualified somehow from the whole series from bad behavior, which of course will never happen. Sled, Alkido 5, Paprika Platoon, Alpha Plus moving up. So there's the rest of the list in that famously good series. And as I said, that final regatta, the fifth and final regatta, is at Yacht Club Costa Smeralda in Porto Cervo in Sardinia, the 22nd through the 27th of September. Julia.
Ooh, yes.
Have you been anytime recently to Porto
Not
Cervo?
recently. I think they're missing us.
They are. It's still one of my favorite places in the world, having sailed there, judged there, and I look forward to that. Julia, back just flipping the page, another Bravo Zulu. We'll get more heavily into the ocean race Europe later on in the show, but it was a perfect finish here a 3 days ago for Paul Muehlhat's Biotherm. They've won both the first and second leg, and they've taken all of the points gates, all the gates so far. HOLCIM PRB, who was, of course, not able to race in that first leg because of the collision, they took second, and Paprika Arkea, they complete the leg 2 podium in second and third, respectively. Mm-hmm. Another Bravo Zulu to this regatta I keep talking about here in the States and SoCal every year this time of year at the end of August. It's an invitation-only regatta co-hosted by the Newport Harbor Yacht Club and the Balboa Yacht Club out at Catalina Island, White's Cove, Moonstone Beach. There is a photo courtesy of Becky Lenhart from Sunday morning, a sunrise at Long Point Race Week on Catalina Island, looking out. And Becky, who is the racing director at Balboa Yacht Club par excellence, she keeps that whole program together at Balboa. If she ever leaves the club, I'm going to leave the club. A whole lot of others of us, Andy Rose, Greg Newman on down, we all say the same thing, because she is not only such a fine organizer and such a pleasant, bright, capable person, but Becky Lenhart is the best. Don't hire her away from Balboa Yacht Club, please. She sent that photo. You may have seen that on my Facebook page, celebrating Long Point Race Week, which is really a race weekend. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was this past 22nd through the 24th, this past Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A week earlier than usual. I guess it's the calendar, because they don't want to go into September. They want to do the last full weekend of August. As I said, it's invitation only, and it's a real treat to get an invitation to this regatta. Mostly SoCal boats, the odd NorCal boat, maybe even a Mexican boat over the years, but it's a real treat to get to this. If you ever are invited to race your own yacht or to sail on someone else's yacht in this event, it's 3 days, low-key, fabulous weather, good food, great parties. Go. Say it again, Julia.
Go.
Exactly. It's go. It's a quick race, really, on Friday afternoon from just between Huntington Beach and Laguna Beach. You see Irvine inland. Newport Beach is right there in the middle of that square. And they start right off the Newport, where you see us running the Governor's Cup right off the piers there. And it's about a little less than 30 miles out to Catalina. What's that song Julia used to sing?
36 miles across the sea, Santa Catalina is a-waiting for me.
That's a song from the 50s, right? Or 40s even? Mm-hmm. And
50s.
It's 30 what? How many miles?
36 miles.
That's from L.A. That's from L.A. down to Catalina. It's a little less than that, just short, I think 29 miles and change from Newport Beach out there, as you see here.
Yeah.
And even from San Diego, it's quite a bit longer. It's more like, I don't know, 70, 80 miles from San Diego. But you can get up there, and you see White's Cove there on the map. White's Cove is where Balboa Yacht Club has their station, and right next to it in Moonstone is where the Newport Harbor Yacht Club has their station. And that's why those two clubs co-host this event. It's 3 races. It's out Friday afternoon. You get out there in plenty of time. The weather's nice. The water is the warmest it is all year. It's probably the water's, 70-something degrees, maybe even, it's not quite bath water, but it's maybe even warmer than that. And you swim and you relax, and then you go into shore. And one night, one of the clubs hosts the dinner, and the other night, the other club hosts the dinner at their 2 respective stations, which are just a stone's throw apart, or maybe a 9-iron. They're right next to each other.
Yeah.
They're either side of the big pier, the White's Landing Pier. And it's just relaxed and fun, and they're all top boats and top sailors from SoCal, a bit of an annual reunion out there at Catalina. There is the Chamber of Commerce photo, Julia.
Yes.
And I didn't mean to put the green square on there, but you see that all the time on TV and beyond and movies. There's been a lot of movies because L.A., as you said, is so close, shot out there at Catalina Island. Catalina is part of L.A. County, actually. They keep a tight rein on it. Avalon Bay, as you're looking there. And then the only municipality on the island is Avalon. It's the seat of governance, such as it is out there. And it's just a beautiful island. If you're flying from NorCal down to SoCal, you sort of come along the coast. You see Catalina out on the right side. Then you turn left and come in either to the airports in L.A. or the airports in Newport Beach. Yeah, you don't really see. Sometimes you see Catalina, depending upon how they route you if you're going down to San Diego, but for sure if you're going down to Newport Beach. And it's just a beautiful part of the world. There is White's Cove. And right here behind this rock, you can sort of see behind that big rock is the Balboa Yacht Club's station at White's Cove. This is the landing. There's a Boy Scout camp up here. And then around way up here in that corner of the upper left corner is where Newport Harbor Yacht Club, that out the other side of that rock is called Moonstone Beach. And that's where they have their station. So you can see it's just a stone's throw, literally, a bit more than that between the two clubs. And then there's all these anchorages out here, and all summer long, people go out to Catalina on a Friday, come back on a Sunday in their power boats or their sailboats, because, as I say, it's under 30 miles. It's not a long. I wish I could get the software guys to automatically turn the green square off when we switch. You can also see Natalie Wood's ghost, David James says. Joe Holtzman agreeing Catalina is a fun place also. Yeah, you can take the ferry out there from this is not a travel lodge. This is not the Chamber of Commerce here, Julia.
But it is true.
But it is true. And you can go out there by ferry. You can even fly out there. You can charter a plane. There is a little bit of a, I think, from time, at least
Which
in the
is an
summer.
adventure itself to land there.
It is, indeed. The best snack and drink event. There's Peter McDonald, who's raced in this event. I've raced with Peter out there many, many times on It's Okay. And speaking of It's Okay, they were one of the 40 boats that raced out there again this weekend. It's the highlight of just about every boat in SoCal's summer season. And yesterday on Sailing Anarchy, they actually featured this photo of It's Okay, the Andrews 50. Designed by Staff Commodore Alan Andrews of the Balboa Yacht Club. One of the best boats he's ever designed, everyone says. It's not a TP-52, but it's a quick boat, especially in the light. And you get into marginal planing conditions, and some of the other newer boats will get up on a plane quicker.
Yeah.
But here in SoCal, according to Sailing Anarchy, there is a popular race from Newport Beach to Catalina Island race at Catalina the next day and then race home on Sunday, called Long Point Race Week. Super popular, and it is always fun. The shot here is the Andrews 50. It's okay, which has been a fixture in SoCal for something like 20 years. Always expertly maintained, yes. Randy Moreno, who is the boat captain, has been with that boat for a long, long time. Expertly maintained and outfitted, quicker than ever. The boat is likely Alan Andrews' best design and perhaps his best looking. The boat went to Hawaii this year for Transpac. Is it a TP52? No. Does it have a wine cabinet? Absolutely. And
great cuisine.
The crew led by the four co-owners, Andy Rose and Tom Purcell, Greg Newman, and Danny Thompson, have a lot of fun. And their number one goal is to race hard, but to always have fun. It's the theme of this show: sail fast, sail safe, and especially
have fun.
Have fun. And that's why I sail with them when they let me. I mean, they haven't kindly invited me for years to sail on the boat. I haven't sailed lately, but it's the way yacht racing is for many of us, and it should be for all of us. On a boat like It's Okay, led by these owners. And they actually had a pretty good series. Their first race out was good. Their second race back, or the second race up, it's a day race up and down the island along the shore, the kind of the north, the northwest? I can't remember the shore, but it's... they didn't have a very good race on Saturday. And then on Sunday back in, they actually won their class. And you'll see them down there in third place overall in PHRFB. It's okay, the Andrews 50. But look at the names of the other boats on this list, whether it's Claude, that's Hazel Plotner's boat, Julia. Kayard, he's got Kiwis that fly in to sail with him. Kayard was on the boat.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, you got the Vitesse, which is a well-sailed TP52. Pyewacket, which is the Disney boat, also designed by Alan Andrews. And on down through the list, there's Rock and Roll, which is the Andrews 68 that is co-owned by John Sangmeister. I don't believe he sailed this weekend. He's still recovering from his rib injury during Transpac.
Yeah.
And right on down through, you'll see a list of fantastic boats. But again, bravo Zulu to those two clubs, to the 40 boats that get invited and go out and make it such a fun event for everybody. And I commend it to you if you ever get the chance to sail. Likewise at Lake Garda, bravo Zulu for the Fireball class. And their 60th year, the Fireball Worlds at Lake Garda. Look at that scene.
Ooh.
It's ongoing now. Today was their day 3. They have another, I believe, 3 days left of racing. One of my favorite classes ever. I campaigned this class as a teenager and beyond. They have 137 boats from 14 countries. Apparently, reportedly, it's the largest regatta ever outside of Great Britain, where the class, of course, began some 60 years ago. And I just did a photo essay as promised to some of the FOSI who also love this class, Australia, Brits, and beyond. A fair few in Canada and in the States back in the day when it was competing for the two-person slot in the Olympics, the two-person dinghy against the 470. The 470 was chosen. In the meantime, the 470 class has declined. And like the Star class, like the Finn class, the Fireball class has gone from strength, Julia, to strength. Still going strong. And it will probably for another 60 years because it's just a Peter Milne design, just a fantastic boat. You hard chined, double chined. You could build it in your garage out of plywood as it was originally done, and then now they're mostly glass. Some are glass with a wood deck. But today, on Tuesday, 2 races were sailed in the Aura and the Southerly there on Lake Garda, with the second race proving more demanding as gusts reached 18 knots. At the top of the standings, the British duo of DJ Edwards and Viv Townend. I don't know if it's Townend or Townsend. Not my graphic there. Already Fireball world champions held on to the lead with scores of 2-4 today. Close behind, the Swiss pair of Yves Mermont and Maha Siegenthaler, 2-3, the top mixed crew in the fleet. Well, bravo Zulu to them as well. Closed the gap to just 5 points thanks to the discard, which is now in effect. In third place, the Australians Brendan Garner, Ben O'Brien, third at the last year's Worlds on home waters when they were in Australia. They remain solid, while from 4th to 10th, it is all Brits, underlining the strength of the UK fleet. Standing out in 5th are Georgia Booth, Oliver Davenport, the first mixed crew with a female helm, who have had an excellent start to their worlds. Julia, you know Sally Honey, Stan's wife?
Yes.
I met Sally many moons ago, like 50 years ago.
Wow.
In the fireball class when she was steering
Aha.
a fireball and beating us.
Of course.
She's arguably a better sailor than her husband, than Stan.
Yes.
I mean, some would say
That's
a
what he
former
says
yachtsman.
now.
Yeah, he does. Former yachtsman of the year. Alistair Murray used to have a fireball. Tom, you need balls to sail fireballs, Pedro Foiling Sailor says. Chris Fury, a late check-in. Good morning from Melbourne. Ed Worley, we're used to abalone diving in the cove many years ago. I guess he means out there at
Catalina.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You used to go out and somebody knock on your hull and say, how many abalone do you want for dinner?
Oh, yeah, and hand them to you?
Yeah, they hand us in the shell.
In the shell.
Yeah.
So that's a big fish. That's a big shellfish out there, right? The abalone.
But they bought all fished out. You're lucky if you ever see
They
one.
are? They're fished out?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's not
Up front for 20 years.
Ed Worley's also saying that the casino building out there at Avalon is beautiful, and the Wrigley Mansion is up on the hill overlook. Okay, we got a real Chamber of Commerce tourist show here.
Yeah.
That reference from David James about Natalie Woods, you know what that's about?
Yes.
She supposedly, well, she didn't.
Slipped over the side.
Slipped on her tee.
Yes.
You know, slipped on their tee. That's a quote from Hunt. That's a line from Hunt for Red October.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Connery. Yep. What else? Yeah, lots of notes there about it, about Catalina. But back on the fireball.
Alistair Murray used to have a fireball.
Yep, that's what he was saying here. And it's just one more photo. I just want to wrap up this photo essay. After 3 days of medium to strong winds, adrenaline, and spectacular mark roundings, the title race is still wide open. 3 more days to go, I believe. There is great energy both on and off the water, according to the class PR here, with an international fleet that blends competition, camaraderie, and passion for a boat that continues to fascinate after more than 60 years of history.
That's fabulous.
Well, it's an easily sailed, I mean, it's difficult to sail fast, but it's easy physically to sail. It's not too huge. It's not like a Flying Dutchman where you have a huge Genoa jib. Not like a 505, which is a bit of a beast.
Yeah.
A little smaller than that, more like a 470, faster than a 470, and just a fabulous boat. The Fireball, one of my favorites, and apparently one of your favorites, is Chris Fury saying that he sailed Fireballs out of Frankston. Where's that, in the UK? Way back when, still bear the scars. Is Frankston in the UK? Where is that, Chris? Or is that in Australia? Okay, that gets us through the Bravo Zulus. Julia?
Yes.
What are we celebrating today?
It's Dog Day.
No. Well, it is Dog Day. You're right. But what else are we celebrating?
Looks like beer to me.
It is beer, but from what country?
I don't know.
A small but fabulous sailing country.
Denmark.
It's canned beer day in Japan, David James says. Not Denmark. Chris Fury says that town Frankston is south of Melbourne, so it is in Oz.
Oh, okay.
There's
That's
Alistair
good to
Murray chiming in as well. What small country is known for its fabulous beer, Julia? It's in Europe. Stella Artois is one of their brands.
Oh, Belgium.
Well done, Julia. Belgian Beer Week. That's what it is. Belgian beer is widely celebrated for its unique and diverse flavors, making it a favorite among beer enthusiasts worldwide. Banro got it. He says Belgium. Belgian Beer Week brings this rich brewing tradition to the forefront, inviting people across the globe to savor the variety that Belgian beers offer. And
they bought all the beer.
They have bought a lot of beer brands
in Munich.
Well, they bought a lot of beer brands in the U.S. too.
Yeah.
And the one of the best selling, I'm reliably informed, doing the survey, putting this segment together, they actually sell the 3 of the most popular brands, starting with Stella Artois and Leffe. Is it Leffe? Is that how you pronounce that? And then Garden. Is it Garden? I can't remember. It's Stella Artois, Hoegaarden, and Leffe, I believe, are the names of those 3 beers. They sell them in a package of 12 or 24. I like the Belgian beer brand Stella Artois Liberté.
Yes.
I think it's, along with Heineken, it's the
Alcohol-free.
best 0.0, not even 0.0, 0.5. It's 0.0. And I like their Liberté non-alcohol beer. If you're going to drink a non-alcohol beer,
I've never had that.
well, try it.
I will.
Try it. You might like it. Clay Embley is saying, if you like the Fireball, you need to sail a Diamond class yacht. Alan Long knew that was Belgian Beer Day. Stella, known as a wife beater over here in the UK. Andrew McIrvin. Is that like an A shirt? Is that a wife beater, a Stella, or is that just you refer to like we say a Karen over here who's a crouton, a lady who's a crouton, a Stella is a wife beater? Is that?
I don't know.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Well, it is Belgian Beer Day, Julia. We'll celebrate that. We'll also celebrate John Emmett, who's here with his regular coaching corner. His every show, he rarely misses a show. In fact, I can't remember when he did last in years. And here's his report from the beaches of Weymouth today.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosies. So I thought I'd take you for a little walk on a typical Weymouth beach weekend. Didn't actually realise I'm probably blending in quite nicely with the sand. That was not intentional, but I'm sure I could do something in the colour grading. But yeah, it's really nice to enjoy the British summer. I know Lily thinks all the Brits are crazy swimming in the British Sea, but we think it's warm. And it just made me think a little bit about sailing clubs and launching and covering this type of thing, because we actually used to have Weymouth Olympic Week, and this is a quite old and outdated idea that you literally turned up, you had your boats off this beach, and the person who went to the games was selected by whoever won that regatta. Now, of course, being able to perform in Weymouth is not the same as being able to perform in Qingdao, Marseille, Tokyo, etc., because those venues are very, very different. And I think that's quite an important thing to think about. We're always, as coaches, trying to optimise our performance. You saw Weymouth 2012, everybody got heavy, because I know, on paper at least, it's a good, strong sea breeze venue. Wouldn't know that to look at it here. And then Qingdao, everybody lost as much weight as possible, even down to having super short haircuts, to look at being as light as possible. But the beach launching does have a huge advantage. Now here, it's naturally quite sheltered with the prevailing wind direction. And we had Pathelli recently. They have the youth nationals there and the Ilka nationals, where it means once everybody gets down onto the beach, you can launch an entire fleet in 10 minutes, because you can have 50 boats launching simultaneously. The problem you have is if you ever have a steep beach, the shingle beaches we have on the south coast, it's quite possible that you're going to get this dump, the wave dump, which makes the launching recovery difficult. And of course, that's why having small marinas to launch from is definitely the safest option, because as long as the wind is sailable, you can always launch and you can always get out there. And that's where, Weymouth and Portland becomes an incredibly sailable venue, because you've got a marina to launch in, and you've also got a very large harbour, roughly 2 kilometres by 2 kilometres. And then if the conditions are appropriate, you can go out in the bay. And at Olympics, we had several race courses out there. But as I've done in recent reels, recording recent reels, people were saying it's never normally like that. Recently, we've had quite a few easterlies, and you get big swell here, etc., and that's southeasterly. But there's no such thing as a perfect venue, and different venues are probably more appropriate than others. So you see here, we've got a nice sandy beach, same colour as my shirt, but these sandy locations will heat up a lot better in terms of generating a sea breeze. That's why those sort of Portaventura type venues do really well, because they have a good thermal breeze, or places where there's surrounding desert, whereas Kiel, and you've got the Black Forest there, etc., they don't heat as well. So what might be a really good venue in the summer, sea breeze, might be a poor venue in the winter with gradient wind, and vice versa. So yeah, horses for courses, and it's just like I said for sailing classes. You know, we're so lucky. There's something out there for everyone. And all things being equal, it's good to support your local sailing club. And I must do another video there. But in the absence of any further content, please do drop us your questions, and I'll try and tailor some of the coaching corners to answer questions people have. And personally, it seems a long time since January in the last power show, and I hope that's something we can really look into in the near future, because it's about constantly keeping the momentum up and keeping the awareness up. So on that note, sail fast, sail safe, and keep having fun. Bye for now.
Happy birthday to Lily.
Is it really Lily's
Apparently,
birthday?
it's Lily's birthday. Alistair Murray is saying that it's Lily's birthday. Some at that beach need to consider salads. Did you see that, Julia?
Yes.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
did you see this? That's an outtake. That's a screen grab from that video.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent that picture this morning to Ted Ryman, who's got a great sense of humor. I said, Ted, is that you and one of your girlfriends, your partner, on the beach photobombing John in his video? And he said, no, my boobs are bigger and the strings are smaller. He texted that back. So, yeah, I don't know who that is photobombing John's video, but I thought it was great. It was, as Chris Ferry says, some at that beach need to consider salads. Okay, that's John Emmett's regular reportage. John Emmett sailing, get to the front of the fleet. And as always, we like to say at the end of his report, we're still putting, and by the way, there's good progress being made in Australia. I think the problem is that the IPC, the International Paralympic Committee, is looking for more broader distribution of Paralympic sailing throughout the world before they're going to give us even a demonstration event. But I still think that demonstration events are more a function of the local organizing committee, meaning the Brisbane 2032 committee. Tell me if I'm wrong in the chat. But I know the Australians, led by Australian Sailing, and our super Fosey and late, he's not the late, he's the president emeritus, he's the former recent president of Australian Sailing, Alistair Murray, are pushing hard to get this into the 2032 games.
I think it is important to have sort of showcase the possibility of
absolutely
of parasailing, because I didn't believe that till I met two blind sailors who traveled the world.
Exactly. No, it's great. It's great for our sport. It's great for sport in general, and I hope everybody who has any influence, any ability to push this forward will do so. And I said in the starting line while we're on Brisbane 2032, since the show on Friday when I said the one hears, well, that I am hearing that the switch is on. Several of you said in the chat that, in fact, they are going to switch out, World Sailing, are going to switch out the 470 class, and they're going to switch out the kites, and in place of the kites, they're going to put in wing foils.
Yeah.
Men and women, and then in place of the 470 and the NACRA 17, those two classes are going to get the flick, and in comes the monohull foiler, not the Moth, not the one of the other one designs, the Wasp, but the Switch, because then World Sailing can control that as a monopoly class and control the revenue.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's what I hear. And others have called me or texted me or emailed and said, that's what we're hearing too.
Mm. If they could manage it better, I'd feel better.
I just wish we'd have owner-operated classes. Owners operating the class, doing the rules, the class rules, licensing the builders, so you have licensed builders around the world, not classes controlled and operated by World Sailing.
Yeah, no.
Or manufacturers who are causing monopoly manufacturing. We'll see.
Christopher Fury said, compliment on the scarf.
He likes your scarf, Julia. Again,
Yes.
That's from the Balboa Yacht Club. You got
Right.
that in the mail the other day.
I did.
From the general manager, Russell Miller, who's become a real fan of the show.
Oh, good.
He is a terrific terrific manager of that club. I cannot overstate how much he smooths the way for us doing the Governor's Cup television down there, especially on shore. And it's just and Andrew McIrvin likes your scarf too.
Oh, well.
See, and if you don't wear a scarf, I get criticized. I keep telling you.
Well, this is really because of you.
Well, it's because of Russell Miller and the Balboa Yacht Club.
Right.
Okay, let's move to our feature. We might get this show done in an hour and change, Julie, today. HOLCIM PRB, as we said, got redress, and the Ocean Race Europe started today, leg 3, that is. They have sailed from Kiel, then over to Portsmouth in the UK, and then from Portsmouth they made a pass by in Portugal, and then finished in Cartagena over the weekend, and now have taken off today at 2 o'clock local time for the shortest leg, a relatively short leg, up to Nice. And that is happening now, but it's a challenging leg navigationally and weather-wise because they're expecting lots of different weather influences. There is the winner of leg 2 coming into Cartagena. Paul Meelhat and his team on Biotherm remain perfect on the Ocean Race Europe scoreboard after collecting all the points available over 3 different scoring opportunities on leg 2, which they did the same thing on leg 1. That is, both finishing first, but also the scoring gates. And leg 2 was the longest stage so far. Well, it is the longest stage of the event. Biotherm swept up 16 points, 2 at the Needle scoring gate, 7 at the Shinhos, I think it's pronounced, flyby in Portugal, and 7 more at the finish in Cartagena on this leg, and that's leg 2, and are now firmly atop the leaderboard ahead of Paprika, Arkea, and HOLCIM PRB, the running mates on the leg 2 podium. There's the overall standings. Biotherm on top with 25 points, Paprika Arkea in second and 18. Team HOLCIM PRB, who you remember didn't score any points in leg 1 because the collision, and then they had to go back to Kiel. They had to go back to the port, as did the boat that collided with them, Alla Grande Mape Racing down there in 7th place. And we'll tell you about the outcome of that redress hearing in a moment. Team Militia, that Julia, we've been cheering for,
Yes,
is in 4th. And Canada Ocean Racing, B Water Positive in 5th. Team Amala on 6th. And these were earlier results, but they were awaiting their Cartagena points, but they basically finished in that order going into Cartagena. There may have been one change there, but nonetheless, that's what's going on. Now to the protest. It actually was not a protest. I have to qualify that. The Biotherm sought redress. I don't know if the other team did or not, but the international jury has awarded, not Biotherm, I beg your pardon, HOLCIM PRB. The jury has awarded Team HOLCIM PRB redress after that collision in Kiel. Remember, it was a windward leeward, and if we go back to our bar karate here, they were going out in the start, and the leeward boat was HOLCIM PRB, and then this other boat came in from above, and they hit. And they both had pretty significant damage, and they had to go back and refit the boats in Kiel before then motoring over to Portsmouth for the start of leg 2. So the jury met in Cartagena after everybody finished, or at least these 2 boats finished. Everybody finished. HOLCIM PRB's finishing position in leg 1 will be equal, the jury decided, to its average finishing position at the finish of legs 2 through 5.
Oh.
So they're going to get average points
of
their finishes in leg 2, which just happened in Cartagena where they were second.
Yeah.
And then legs 3, 4, and 5. So they will continue to collect average points. Well, that's pretty typical redress when a boat has been damaged by another, or when the race committees caused them to somehow not be able to finish in a given race. The team had been forced to retire from leg 1 of the Ocean Race Europe after a collision with Alla Grande Mape Racing. Both boats retired after the contact, which came in the moments after the start of the race in Kiel, Germany, 2 weeks ago, the jury said no further penalties would be imposed. Some of you thought that one or the other or both might get penalties for failure to avoid a collision.
Right.
But the jury said no further penalties would be imposed on either team beyond, well, and then they put parenthetically, beyond retiring from the opening stage. That's not a penalty. They had to do, well, it is, I guess, an indirect penalty, but that wasn't a penalty from the jury. That was because they had to go back and repair their boat so they wouldn't sink on the way over. But the HOLCIM PRB should be given redress, i.e. scoring points for leg one for being knocked out of the leg. And Bill Cook, who's on here watching, I'm going to give you his opinion in a minute. He's a longtime friend and foe and a increasingly in-demand judge and umpire in our sport here. He's from Annapolis Yacht Club, East Coast, and I've got his view on all this in a moment. But he's telling us that Alagrande was a witness in the HOLCIM hearing, was not themselves seeking redress. Now, I have a video from Mark Jardine, and have a look at his video. It's about 6 minutes long, but I think it explains the whole situation. It explains the jury decision. It explains the redress given, and gets some interviews with the yachts, the best I've seen, explaining this situation. Have a look.
Good.
The international jury of the Ocean Race Europe met last night, and the decision is now in after that crash that we saw on the leg one start in Kiel between Alagrande Mape and HOLCIM PRB. Pretty uniquely, we get to see inside the jury room, and then we see Chris Atkins, the international juror, deliver the decision. And then we take a look at the rules in question and get reaction from HOLCIM PRB's Alan Roberts and Alagrande Mape's Ambrogio Beccaria. The bigger question, though, is whether these sprints at the beginning of the legs are actually suitable for IMOCA yachts. They are being put in a position where they are having to use a lot of sail quite often just to try and grab those points. And it's arguable that an IMOCA is not suitable for that kind of really tight inshore racing. These yachts are designed to go around the world, and so the visibility is not what you would expect, say, on an inshore yacht. And the question is this good for the sport? Is this good for the event? And are they putting the sailor safety in risk by doing these kind of short legs? As we saw, Alagrande Mape simply didn't see HOLCIM PRB coming up beneath them, just because the sails are so low. They don't have any kind of camera systems. Maybe that would be a good addition. So anyway, take a look at the jury decision and the sailors' thoughts, and then give us your thoughts as to whether this kind of sprint leg is good or bad for the race.
May or may not agree on collision course. Now I want
I have information, and I have the information is reasonable effort to keep clear and keep control of the boat.
And secondly, to avoid a collision.
And definitely, it's not, for me, it's not fair to give point for Scumgate because it was not possible for us to get points.
The leg scoring and the bonus gates.
Information about where they are, where you were within that week.
I don't understand why also the scoring points, but the average about the leg.
Drop to leeward for a technical issue and pushes the button to start counting the keel from to leeward.
The four conclusions are that Mapai as windward boat failed to keep clear of HOLCIM and broke rules 11 and 14A. The collision was caused by Mapai's failure to take avoiding action when she could have safely luffed. When it became clear that Mapai was not keeping clear, it was not possible for HOLCIM to avoid contact.
So the two rules Chris Atkins talked about in the jury's decision were 11 and 14A. Sailing Rule 11 states that when two boats are on the same tack and overlapped, the windward boat must keep clear of the leeward boat. To break this rule down, on the same tack means both boats are sailing in the same direction relative to the wind. Overlapped means one boat is positioned in front of or in the path of the other boat. Sailing Rule 14A requires that a boat shall avoid contact with another boat if reasonably possible, but a right-of-way boat, or one entitled to room, does not need to act to avoid contact until it becomes clear the other boat is failing to keep clear or provide the necessary room.
Yeah, so we had the hearing for the collision at the start of leg 1 in Kiel between MAPE and ourselves, Team HOLCIM. It's been weighing on us, obviously, until this moment, because a lot of uncertainty with regards to who was in the right, who was in the wrong, but also in terms of the point scoring for the race to know whether we are actually still in contention to race or not. So we had the initial hearing. They gave a result. It was found that we were in the right, so no extra penalty for us, and that MAPE, the fact that they had to retire from the leg was a large enough penalty for them. It then went on to redress, which was our request, because we were, through no fault of our own, unable to compete on leg 1. So then the redress that they've just granted us is a redress between legs 2 and legs 5, so including leg 5, so everything up until the last race, and it will be an average points that we will receive for our leg 1 result of these legs. So we will go into the last leg, the coastal race in Boca Bay, knowing what our point scores is. There's a lot of guidelines for the jury use and a lot of case studies. It's not an abnormal thing to have this kind of scenario, so they base their decision off of that. And what they believe is as fair as possible, but it's not just what they believe. The rules guide them towards their decision. So that's what's fundamentally given us this redress that we have. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really difficult period for both the teams. You know, the IMOCA fleet and the family, we're very much a family. We're all very close, and it's not the part of sailing that we're here to do. But unfortunately, these situations happen, and now we're glad to have that behind us. The decision's made, and we can go and concentrate on the racing.
It was not the situation that we were hoping for, but we respect completely the decision of the jury. We knew that it was a very complex situation, and yeah, this is part of racing. Sometimes it's not, let's say, joyful moments, because it's we are here to race and to have fun and to fly above the water. We are not here to discuss about that, but yeah, we hope that it's not gonna happen anymore, and we know that HOLCIM are very strong sailors, and it has been difficult for them to pass to live all that they lived. So yeah, I hope that we'll have some very good legs in the next one, and that's it.
Okay, so there is, I think, a pretty good explanation.
Yes, it was.
Did you like that?
Yes.
All across the board. Clark says that's not exactly what overlapped means. I think he's right, technically. Clark is also saying HOLCIM was only entitled to redress if MAPE took a penalty or was penalized. In this case, she retired, which is sufficient. Clark, of course, a senior serious judge for many, many years, and is not only our race committee expert, but our rules expert here on Sailing Illustrated, and one of the co-founders, really, of the channel, going way, way back. Clark Chapin from Portage Yacht Club, my home yacht club in Pinckney, Michigan. Clark lives outside of Detroit and Plymouth. But I said I would. I'm putting, as part of this, a corrector croutonic, because there were several people that were not in agreement with that decision.
Yeah.
Not that any of you weren't. It seems like most of you were. So we'll ask you here, if any of you think the decision, seems like most of you think it was correct, do any of you think it was croutonic? And we'll see Bill Cook, other than definitions, he says that's a good explanation of the thinking. And again, William Cook, we call him Bill the Cook, whom I've known for decades, and we did a couple of America's Cups together. But it is a bit confusing, I think, when you're trying to explain average points. I don't know why they just don't simplify it and say, well, for that race, you're going to get average points for your other races, of your scores in the other races, because you were knocked out of the race by another boat which should have kept clear. Something as simple as that, Julia, right? I'm going to ask, while I'm doing it, I'm going to read you what Bill Cook sent me just before we went to air, he knowing this talk was going to be on the show today. And Bill said, I have to miss, although he's obviously gotten through his meetings, so he's not missing entirely the show. But it's worth pointing out that while the case book, meaning that's the appeals decisions, makes clear that being out of control does not exonerate a boat that is required to keep clear, I don't think it speaks definitively as to what happens if the right-of-way boat goes out of control. The jury didn't speak directly to either, but they concluded that it was not reasonably possible for them to do so, that is either yacht, at the time, because it became apparent that Allegrande Mape would not keep clear, so therefore HOLCIM PRB did not violate Rule 14 Alpha, 14A, which is a right-of-way yacht keeping clear if they can, to avoiding a collision. They also concluded that Allegrande had plenty of time and space, that is the windward yacht, which was required to keep clear, had time and space to respond in a seaman-like manner to the luff, if that's really what that maneuver was from HOLCIM PRB down to leeward. But she held course and speed, breaking Rules 11 and 14. Bill goes on to say, consistent with cases 99 and 107, when Allegrande Mape retired in accordance with 44.1b, she cannot be disqualified. And I guess that's a piece of information we didn't know, that she retired in acknowledgement of an infringement, not because she was broken. Well, we'll see. They may have decided that, yes, we retired in acknowledgement of our infringement once they got back and read the rules and and realized what was going on. The jury noted case 116, which has to do with not applying the redress until HOLCIM gets enough non-redress race finishes to apply it. A good job by the jury, as one would expect. That's Bill's bottom line conclusion. That's Bill Cook, an American from Annapolis Yacht Club and a regional umpire here in this country. Bill also saying, and of course, the caveats about 44.1b is that there may be other things in the SIs, and I don't agree that there's anything else in the SIs. I didn't go back and study it, but I did peruse them quickly. Clark Chapin agrees on all points with Bill. The reason is so that going into the final leg, their score is known. That's part of the World Sailing Redress Guidelines. And yes,
that
Julia,
makes sense.
That makes sense. You want to know what your score is of your opposing yachts, not just yacht, but yachts. So you know you got to cover, who you don't cover. And if you're still giving average points based on how somebody does in the final race, and you don't really know where they are in the pecking order, you'd really like to know that going into the final race with certainty.
Yeah, I've never seen that, and it made a lot of sense.
And Bill Cook's also made another good point. They don't want to discourage people from retiring if that's appropriate. Yeah. And if they retired and took that as an acknowledged penalty, in effect, the jury did not need to assign a motive to their retirement, Clark Chapin says. So a couple of bright guys here on the rules helping us sort through this. I don't see anybody thinking this was croutonic. I think most everybody thinks this was a correct decision, Julia, as we, I guess, surmised at the time that it was going to be a simple windward leeward and that the windward boat would get the flick and the leeward boat might get redress, and they have. So we haven't dwelled on it till now, but it looks like...
Well, it's nice to have it all cleared up.
I think it is cleared up. Thank you, Clark. Thank you, Bill. And if anybody else Alistair also weighed in saying he thought it was the correct decision. And of course, he's been yacht racing for about as long as any of us on this show. Excuse me. I got to use my cough switch, Julia. I'm always on your case about using the cough switch.
Want a cough drop?
No, thank you. I've got some water and coffee over here. Okay, so let's flip the page here and go on to what's happening today there. This morning, Cartagena was the dock out. A lot of people there. The Spanish love our sport. The French love our sport. They love these kinds of events. It's, of course, August, so a lot of people are on holiday, on vacay. And many, many people turned out to watch the boats dock out this morning for the 1400 start for the leg to Nice in France. One of your friends, Julia, in I don't know how many languages, saying good luck in, I guess, 3 languages to Team Militia. And remember, Cole Brower is now back on the boat. She having taken a vacation on leg 2. I think she went to Monaco, in fact. I was watching her Instagram to see where maybe she went, but she took a bit of a break, and now she's back on the yacht. And we'll see if they do better on this leg because she's on the yacht.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye on that. Here was the start today, almost 9 hours ago now. It's almost 2 o'clock here, 1400 here, And they started, I believe, at 1400, so they're plus 9 hours to us in Central Europe time, CET. As an early split in the fleet saw Team Malizia and Alla Grande Mappe Racing stage a breakaway offshore move in the south, while the other 5 battled it out closer to the coast in the north. But half an hour into the race, Team HOLCIM PRB had a narrow advantage yet again. I mean, they've been doing well,
yes,
at least in the last leg, with the gate still 8 miles away, the first scoring gate, with upwind conditions expected to continue overnight in the region. So they're beating up the coast toward Valencia and Barcelona. The sailors look to be in for a testing first night at sea. Here's an update from just a couple hours ago. Biotherm win 2 points. Biotherm again. Mm-hmm. They've won the first 2 points for leading through the Cabo de Palos scoring gate. Paprika Akea got 1 point for scoring second through that scoring gate. So that's the latest on the Ocean Race Europe as they begin leg 3, the short leg up to Nice in France.
I think that's a great race.
I like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Lots of things to do and think about. And
I'm just looking through the comments here, Julia. They don't want to discourage people. Yeah, Bill Cook, Alan Long, and I are, and that's Clark saying, and Clark are, as they say, in a state of violent agreement. Okay. I guess everybody agreed, including Alistair, including those 3. So thank you very much for your opinions. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks it was correct. Not croutonic, Julia. We have a video about croutonicism.
Promise?
At the end of the show.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes, courtesy of several people who sent it to me. Julia, what happened? Speaking of croutonicism, what happened on this day in history, the 26th of August, 1985.
85.
Speaking of the French, 1985. Here's your first and only clue. Well, it's not your only clue. It's your first clue.
The Rainbow Warrior.
Yeah. You remember that incident?
Yes.
40 years ago last month.
Wow. Seems like yesterday.
In 1985, Rainbow Warrior sunk in Auckland Harbor. Why? You remember? The only reason I remember this at the time, I mean, I've read about it since.
There was something loose?
No.
No.
There was something loose. There were some secret agents from France that were loose, on the loose in New Zealand.
Ah.
The French government, as it turns out, sent secret agents down there to sink the boat because the boat was going to go out and lead a protest against French nuclear testing in the South Pacific.
Oh, I forgot about
Remember that?
Yes.
And the other reason I remember it at the time, or knew about it at the time, because we were leading up, we were going up, this was in lead up to, or this wasn't, but it was in the time leading up to the 87 America's Cup in Fremantle, which had French teams, which had the first ever Kiwi team. And there was a lot of tension, shall we say, over this issue. And remember, this also ultimately led to the Kiwis taking a very anti-nuclear stance, not even letting American nuclear-powered vessels into their ports. And I think that continues to this day. But here's what happened on this date. It's not that the sinking happened. It actually happened in July. But on August 26th, and here's an archive from the LA Times, France denied, even though the Kiwis had already charged people, they'd already arrested and charged some of these secret agents who, after they sunk the ship, went down to, I think, to the South Island, and they're having a bit of a vacay while they were in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And France continued to deny that they were involved in the sinking of the ship. But they did admit on this day, the 26th of August, 40 years ago, that 6 were agents. Greenpeace vessels sank in Auckland, and the people that had been arrested, yes, they're agents, Julia, but they weren't involved in the sinking of the ship. Yeah, right.
No.
Paris, Associated Press, 40 years ago today, an official investigator today, a French investigator, needless to say, cleared France and its intelligence officials of responsibility in the bombing of the Greenpeace. We shouldn't laugh because the guy was killed. Of the Greenpeace ship Rainbow Warrior, but the report identified 6 people implicated by New Zealand in the July 10th attack as French Secret Service agents. So they said, yes, those are our agents, but they didn't do it.
Well, I don't know how. I've only once been sort of around the Rainbow Warrior, and I believe that could have happened.
Well, it did happen. We'll give you the rest of the story. In fact, it sunk the boat, and then a lot of people gave them money, and they've got a new boat or two since then. Investigator Bertrand Tricot's report said there is no convincing evidence that the six were involved in the attack. They just had to be in New Zealand on vacation. It did not pinpoint blame for the sinking. That is the French report. The six agents include a man and a woman formerly charged by New Zealand authorities with murder, conspiracy, and criminal arson. Mm-hmm. And there was there were two people staying on board when this happened in the middle of the night. Probably no surprise to anybody. And one of the people on board was a photographer who apparently went back to get his camera gear or some of his camera gear, and then got trapped. And when the ship sank, and sadly he perished in the disaster. Really. Mm. So on this date, it's that the French government denied knowledge of the bombings of Greenpeace flagship, the Rainbow Warrior, in Auckland, New Zealand. This date in history, the 26th of August, 40 years ago, 1985. Now, here is the rest of the story.
On July 10th, 1985, a shocking act of state terrorism struck New Zealand. Greenpeace's Rainbow Warrior, protesting French nuclear testing, was bombed in Auckland Harbor. But what unfolded that night was far from simple sabotage. French intelligence agents acting on orders attached 2 limpet mines to the ship's hull. The first blast tore a massive hole. A second, seconds later, ensured the sinking. New Zealand police quickly identified the culprits: French intelligence agents. The revelation that a NATO ally had conducted an act of terrorism against a sovereign nation on its soil shocked the world. France initially denied involvement. But evidence mounted. France was forced to admit responsibility, paying compensation, and facing global condemnation. The incident sparked a diplomatic crisis, highlighting the extreme length some governments would go to suppress dissent. The Rainbow Warrior bombing transformed Greenpeace into a global symbol of environmental activism, proving that even a sunken ship could launch a powerful movement for change.
What do you think of that? Mm-hmm. Now, I found that on some, shall we say, random website. I almost played a Greenpeace report from last month that went on and on and on, but it was too much by way of propaganda, and I couldn't find. There were some reports from other news outlets in New Zealand, but they were so long and involved. I just thought this was a quick explanation of what happened.
Yeah.
But how would you feel if some agents from a government, an ally, showed up here and bombed something?
No.
The Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes.
Or anything else. So Clark Chapin, New Zealand prohibits both nuclear-powered and nuclear-armed vessels from their waters. Conventionally powered U.S. Navy surface vessels neither confirm or deny the presence of nuclear weapons on board. Mm-hmm. And Pedro Foiling Sailor pointing out what we said a minute ago, I think that's right, Peter Stevenson, this act of terrorism made Greenpeace stronger.
I think that's
Pedro
right.
also saying that Australia just expelled the Iran ambassador for similar actions. What were the actions? They do something against Australia, the Iranians? Bloody hell. Mm. So it is Rainbow Warrior 3. They've now had a couple new boats, I guess. Thank you, Alan Long, for that. And that's what happened, Julia, on this day in history. 40 years ago. The French denied what the rest of the world knew when they finally had to come clean. I guess it's not funny considering the guy, the photographer, died and was a friend of a lot of people. Okay, Clay Embley, thank you for your comment about USS Liberty and so on. That gets us, Julia, and just, we're over an hour and 10 minutes now, just about. That gets us to the last leg, and I have a couple videos, as I said at the starting line at the top of the show. Bravo's alluded to the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia. They have, in a video world, witness this show. People watch this show because they want to see the videos, they want to see the pictures, they want to see the images. Mm-hmm. And that show, by the way, that show on Friday with all those pictures that the Fozy sent in of their favorite yacht racing photo was so popular. They're still coming in fact. We got to do that again. And also, if you all are so inclined, the best video, your favorite yacht racing video, a short one, but we can do an excerpt from the longer ones.
Yeah.
And maybe more, maybe your favorite photo that you have taken. You know, we didn't specify whether it was a photo you had taken or a photo of you, just what was your favorite photo. Very interesting.
Yes. I did look at the numbers of last week's program, and they were way up.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of views again. I mean, it's climbing back up. Clark, I haven't seen Clark does, speaking of Clark Chapin, he does a quarterly report for us on the views, and he just did one, I don't know, a month or so ago.
Actually, Facebook did, one of their stuff.
No, he doesn't. He accumulates them from both Facebook pages. But we had a bit of a problem on one of the Facebook pages, apparently on Sailing Illustrated. I don't know why the show didn't show up there. I streamed it to all three, or so I thought I did. I'll go back and look. Hope you found us. In any event, many of you did, and no doubt, as you watch these videos, this is a calendar of their upcoming races at the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia, a video calendar.
Nice.
You know what? It's less than a minute.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Absolutely.
Great promotion. Websites can use it. The clubs can play it on video walls and, video monitors in their club. Increasingly, more and more clubs are putting up monitors like Balboa Yacht Club does, like the one in the lobby at St. Francis, like the one in the lobby here at the Beach Street Yacht Club.
Yes.
We have our video wall here for when we have visiting guests.
We do.
VIPs. It's, usually just a welcome message, but this is great stuff.
It is.
And we need more. It is a video world. The kids are all attuned. The young people are attuned to it. Even older folks like us are attuned to video. And when you make them short and sharp like this, less than a minute long, I think it's just great. Better yet still, here's an update on the entries for this upcoming race known as the Sydney Hobart. And I think this is going to be a big one. Look at this. The 80th. Just naming the boats. Big and small. And how happy do you think that makes the people who own those boats or sail and crew on those boats, sail on those boats? So bravo Zulu to the Cruising Yacht Club. They have a CYCA TV, like we have our Sailing Illustrated TV page or World Sailing TV.
Right.
And they put all their videos, and I don't know who's making them, but they've got somebody who's producing interviews. And the CYCA, Julie, are also doing something that you have said to St. Francis over and over again, and I think Kimball Livingston, Staff Commodore Kimball Livingston, has done a bit of this, but the CYCA, are sitting people down and interviewing them about the history and traditions of the club before these folks pass away.
Right.
We're all getting a little long in the tooth.
Yes.
And now that we have the video, why not take historical, videos for historical artifact reasons? And bravo Zulu to the CYCA who are doing that. And they're entertaining. They're interesting.
Yes.
I've used a few of them on this show.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I hope you all agree. Yes, there's a lobby here, Alan Long. This is a proper yacht club.
Yes, indeed.
We have an America's Cup lounge. We have a grill room. We have a studio, television studio here. Mm-hmm. Just ask Pedro's foiling sailor, Peter Stevenson. He's been here. Ask Andrew McIrvin. He's been here. Clark Chapin's been here. Mm-hmm. The Beach Street Yacht Club here in San Francisco's beautiful Marina District. Julie, that gets us to Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Chris Fury is telling us that Sandringham Yacht Club, that's the club where he and Alistair and others are members in Melbourne, has done interviews for some years now. Great
that's
stuff.
Good. Yeah.
More clubs should do that. More clubs should do that. And before I leave this topic of videos, there was a YouTube video that came out last week. I think the gentleman who put it out is from Michigan, and I don't now remember his name. I found his email address, and I wrote to him, and I said, can I use the video? Would you like to come on the show? I don't know the gentleman. Mm. And the video was about the demise, or the decline, I should say, not the demise, the decline of yacht racing, of racing sailing. And he, in this YouTube video, he listed a lot of different reasons why, in his view, the sport has declined. Not so much what can be done about it, but just outlining the reasons for the decline.
Yeah.
Peter Taylor's been here, too. There's another one that knows about the Beach Street Yacht Club.
Yes.
So we got 150 members around the world, Julia.
I know.
But and you're the Commodore. But I digress. So I wrote to the gentleman and said, would you like to come on? And he's declined. He said, no, I'd rather keep my online. He sounds like Stingray. He sounds like our friend up in Seattle.
Wants protection.
He wants to keep his online presence separate from his real life. He may be in the boating business, too. He may be in the sailing or yacht racing business. I'm not sure. I think he lives in Michigan, my home state. Mm-hmm. But several others now have seen it. And this morning, last night and this morning, I started getting pings from, you may have seen it on the Super Fozzie thread. Uh-huh. And there's a number of people want to run that video and have a panel and discuss not necessarily the reasons
I saw it.
For the demise, or the decline, I should say, not demise, because I don't think the sport is even in that big a decline, frankly.
No.
I think we've had
changing flavors
a bit. But also John Emmett and Gordon Smith and others are saying, and Andrew McIrvin, we've got to keep, if we look at the video, we got to keep it positive, looking forward. How can we help increase participation across the board in everything? Parasailing, Olympic sailing, club sailing, dinghy sailing, big boat sailing, and so on, which of course is something.
And day sailing.
Well, I'm not so sure about day sailing. I'm not a big, we keep this to yacht racing, and I don't want to confuse the two.
Yes.
Which is part of the problem U.S. sailing's had and having, is they've gotten to try to be all things to all people.
Right.
And if we stick to our knitting and do yacht racing,
yes,
which is what this video was basically about.
Yes.
But we will, and John Emmett says, I think the topic should be how to promote yacht racing. Well, I agree. Alistair Murray wants to know when the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club is up for re-election, Julia.
At the annual meeting.
Yes, you get reelected every year at the annual meeting, and you've doubled the dues every year.
Every year, double dues.
It's still zero. And the chairman's compensation has been doubled every year, and it's still zero too. The chairman. So we'll get to that video, and if anybody wants to be on such a panel, we'll do a Zoom panel to talk about big picture, broadly, how to promote our sport, which, admittedly has been in decline somewhat for the last, 20, 30 years, in terms of the huge numbers we had in the 70s and 80s. And we know why some of those reasons are, but I think until you can promote, you have to identify some of the reasons for the purported decline. Mm-hmm. So we'll do that. That gets us to Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And with that, Julia.
Yes.
There's so many of these videos now about the most fascinating man in the world, the most fascinating. We did play the most fascinating Australian.
Yeah.
And there's a fascinating boomer, fascinating Italian, fascinating this and that. And I'll start playing a few of those, I guess. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Julia.
Yes.
And speaking of yacht racing, the father was seen consoling his young son, in the park. Mm-hmm. And why is the boy crying? Well, he says, Daddy, why do power boats exist? And the father says, some people never learned how to
That's lovely,
sail.
and undoubtedly true.
Now, Julia, I promised you a video about croutonicism and how to properly handle your croutons. Several Fozzie sent this to me, so I'm not going to give credit to anyone in particular, but this is a a British gentleman. I've seen his YouTube channel. You almost think it's tongue in cheek, but he does this, what's prim and proper and what's not. And here he is on croutons. Have a look.
Okay.
Now make sure you're not a cretin with your crouton. A crouton is a toasted, hard piece of bread often used as a garnish on salads. And if you cut into it with too much vigour, it's going to fly everywhere. So for soft croutons, you can gingerly cut into them, but for crisp, smaller things, like this one here, place it on the back of your fork and transfer to your mouth and eat.
This guy, I'm going to play it again. This guy's semi-famous in the UK. You see him on some of the television, or I see videos of him having appeared on some of the television shows. But he's showing us how to eat our croutons properly. Don't be he says a cretin. Wouldn't we say cretin?
Cretin, yeah.
A cretin with a crouton. Have a look.
Now make sure you're not a cretin with your crouton. A crouton is a toasted, hard piece of bread often used as a garnish on salads. And if you cut into it with too much vigour, it's going to fly everywhere. So for soft croutons, you can gingerly cut into them, but for crisp, smaller things, like this one here, place it on the back of your fork and transfer to your mouth and eat.
Don't be a cretin with your crouton. You know, the first time Claire Harrington, Vice Commodore Harrington, heard me use the word crouton, she said, "You mean cretin?" She thought I had mispronounced or was using the wrong word. No, we meant crouton, the famous French-Canadian word. Don't be a cretin with your crouton. That's because he speaks proper English, Emmett says. Julia, where's your plane? We need your new plane for the Beach Street Yacht Club. David James, one must not be too vigorous. Yes, don't. If you're eating your crouton with vigor.
Yeah, and those croutons were too big.
Well, we've got some here on the back table, don't we, still? We've got some semi-Freddies, which were the original ones that were given to us by Darlene Hines and her late husband, Commodore Dewey Hines, and then the Pimp My Salad ones. Those came from Australia. I mean, I think those are Australian. Didn't they come from Peter Stevenson or somebody? Vegan cheese and herb, gluten-free croutons. Pimp My Salad.
It was Australian.
Somebody sent those to us. I can't remember. 2 hours till mixed doubles at Arthur Ashe for the. Did you watch last night? Oh, the tennis has been great. I enjoyed Sunday night, too. Good stuff. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your tuning in again today. As Blake Middleton, we use this one right at the end. All the smartest people sail. That's our always concluding slide as we get to the finish line. And this nice, what did we decide that was, an MC scow? The other day we talked, I had just gone back to this image on the finish line after we used that J24 from Bermuda, that slide for a long, long time. I say, Peter Stevenson sent those vegan croutons. We'll have to eat those on the show sometime.
Oh, they're going to be awful.
Why? They're sealed.
Oh, never mind.
Come on, Julia.
They're going to be really, no.
I'm opening them right now. Come on. I am. Do you want to try it first, or shall I?
You can try it first.
I'm eating them with my fingers. I'm a cretin.
Yeah.
Listen. Can you hear that? Ooh, they're a little stale.
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
They're not bad. They're not bad. Healthy meal toppers, gluten-free croutons, vegan cheese and herbs.
David James says life is too short for vegan croutons.
Well, that's right. I mean, the only thing that make croutons good are the garlic in them, right? They're a little stale.
Yeah.
What year? Let's see. Made in Australia. See that right up the kangaroo in the upper left corner? Gluten-free, vegan, natural ingredients, vegan cheese and herb. Let's see if there's a use by date. Best before 22, 20, 23. There it is in the lower left corner. I don't know if you can see that. 22. I think it's 12, 22, 23. So that was Christmas time. Well, Julia, they're open now. I have to put them on your salad tonight. Try it.
I'll have one. It's going to be stale. Now the thing is how to freshen them.
Well, can you put them bake them in the oven?
Oh, maybe too late. Yeah.
They're not bad.
Well, we can try it.
I never thought we'd eat croutons on this show. No, I made a mistake. Mine are in the blue pack. I don't know. They're from Australia. Don Ludabo says Paul Newman, Italian dressing, and bite hard. Emmett is saying, if there's no show on Friday, we'll know why.
I know.
Okay, Julia, we're at the end here. Thank God. And you like to say...
Yes, please like, follow, and share. And if I were to have my way, you'd do each one of them every time.
And Julia Child, is she still around? She recommends putting gluten-free croutons in the trash. Like, follow, and share, and maybe we ought to turn comments off after this show. Comments are welcome, even in a replay. Thank you very much for joining us for the show. Also, thank you to those of you who give us a few bucks a month via Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. We deeply appreciate your support, and we also appreciate those who let us have images and video and audio for today's show. Julia, final thoughts?
I actually was sitting here looking at the bourbon cream.
Oh, well, we'll do that after the show.
Yeah.
MC Scow, Blake Middleton, 16 feet long, single-handed, or with crew and heavy breezes. So is that an MC Scow that I had in that slide, Blake? Clark Chapin says, no, Julia has gone to that great kitchen in the sky. Thank goodness. Thanks to everybody, again, for letting us have your material for the show today, including Bill the Cook. It's the first time we've had a submission, I think, from Bill. We hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Friday, the same time and same channels. I hope all three are working on Friday. In the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.